something that's working, what's working for you, use it, bring it up. Um, it's pretty much a mastermind, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. If we can run longer if we need to, but that's kind of what I'm thinking, just like a real quick. So that's probably the number one question I get as a coach. What's working? What are other people doing? What's happening somewhere else, right? Like that, I spend a lot of time having that conversation with people. And I think it's important. People need to know. I think in this industry, a lot of people think that, you're on an island, and, I think that's the benefit of being part of coaching too. You're connected to other people. You're connected to, it's not just you. And a lot of times, especially I think after COVID, I've seen some of my people locally in my brokerage. They don't experience this because we have a lot of interactivity and connectivity, and there's a lot of in-office activities, and we make it interesting enough for a lot of people to want to attend. And there's more. I think togetherness is super crucial. So with that, actually, I'm just going to jump in. Tyler, yeah, I think probably about a month ago, I was talking to Tyler. Tyler's in Huntsville, Alabama. And I was thinking, Tyler's doing some things that we don't talk a lot about as a group, but I want to share what Tyler is doing, and just to kick it off. And you guys can jump in. There's no order of this. Just jump in and share. Tyler, so what are you doing that's really working right now?
Obviously for sale by owners and expireds. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. For sale by owners, expireds, and then one that has been really beneficial lately, and it seems counterintuitive, where I thought it was at first, but I just needed more numbers to dial. I have been going back through and old for sale by owners or old expireds from, up to 5 years ago. I'm calling them and just kind of, the conversation, which I don't know if anybody else has numbers like this saved up, but I'm calling and saying, hey, I don't know if you remember me. I was calling when you were selling your home at X property. And they're like, yeah, it already sold. And then my follow-up question was that an investment, or was that your personal house? And then it kind of gets them talking. And I've got a couple of warm to hot leads that I have got off of doing that the last few months. And I think that's a weird one that I would imagine not a ton of people are doing.
So old expireds. What are you doing with like current expireds that's working? Because a lot of people are like, well, I don't know how to go about it.
I got a quick question.
Okay.
What the hell's an expired?
We'll have that conversation on another moment, but expired listing
We don't have those.
Well, there's always an expired somewhere. There could be a canceled, withdrawn, something. Some people have it, some people don't. Tyler, so what are you doing? What are you doing differently on the current expireds?
On the expireds, I think it's important to, you get, or at least I got wrapped up in, their problem is they didn't sell their house. And while that might be it sometimes, a lot of times whatever didn't happen with the home they wanted, or something else was going on in their life. So if you can kind of take a step back and do some probing questions and see where their real pain point is. I've had a matter of fact, I've got one that I'm needing to sign some documents on one tomorrow for $800,000, which I don't know about in other markets, but here that's a top, pretty expensive listing. And he's buying one, and I think his wife's got another one to sell just from, asking the correct questions and figuring out, this is more about he can't find the right property. And once I was able to solve that, well, then I got the other two listings. So.
Got it. So it's actually provided potentially some off market opportunities, of course. And what I know about Tyler is that the other thing he's not bringing up is that, consistency, discipline, right? It's, sometimes it's not the easiest call to make, but it definitely is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Good. I like it. Questions for Tyler on expireds? You can bring that up, or somebody want to share what's working for you. Elizabeth, since we just had a conversation, I'll pick on you for a minute. What's working for you right now?
Just a lot of like top of mind awareness, getting out there and really being in contact with with other realtors about the clients they have that might fit your listings. Seems to be kind of where it's at. Definitely taking more time, with listings now, and probably making us better because we're having to think a little bit more outside the box and how to get people there, and just getting people to there is hard right now.
So what are you doing to get more people to the listing, right? Like you're experiencing what most people are experiencing right now. And just a little bit of context for everybody. What I've noticed is that the further north you are, or the further south you go, the better the better the market is compared to last year. In other words, I've noticed that Florida is off, depending on which market in Florida, 22 to 28% off of last year. Those are the numbers January 1 all the way through first quarter. And I did the same exercise with Elizabeth, who is my extreme northern client. You might be the most northern, the northernmost client in the Tom Ferry ecosystem in Fairbanks,
Maybe.
Alaska.
Maybe.
It's pretty darn close. And what we discovered is that Elizabeth's market, not Elizabeth's business, because Elizabeth is like the queen of Fairbanks. The market is, what do we, like 48%. It was like off, like first quarter versus last year, like half. It was like half off.
Yeah.
That's not Elizabeth's business. Actually, you're probably going to duplicate what you did last year, which is like a real coup anyway, right? Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to bring more attention to your listings?
A lot of social media. I'm doing some, I do little teaser videos right before it goes on the market that I can put on, all the social media places, and video throughout, the listing, just picking something specific that might be of interest to people, like, this huge yard, or the great garage, or this awesome kitchen, or this master suite, like, not trying to inundate them with the whole house all at the same time, but just little pieces here and there to get people interested. And lots of, emails to neighbors and neighborhoods, and targeting specific house values that might be wanting to move up. So if I have a $700,000 listing, I'm targeting like $300,000 to $400,000 home values right now. So because those might be the people that want to move up. Just trying to really hone in on some of that and getting all that. A lot of it's top of mind awareness. And then two, really talking to other realtors. I had, broker open houses, which aren't very well attended usually, but the, few that do come, it's that has been really great, because we actually have a minute to, talk about, who their buyers are and what they're looking for, and how will they fit this listing? How would this listing fit them? I think the more you can meet with and talk to realtors about what you have on the market, you as a salesperson can talk to them about the specific thing that might be of interest to their client, and maybe they haven't thought about it. But the power of suggestion is really big. And if, you have somebody that wants a really big garage, and you have a house that has a big garage, like, talk to them about the big garage, and the house, just getting them there to look at the big garage, then the house might sell itself.
I got a quick question.
Go ahead, Tyler.
So I've never done a broker open house, and I've thought about that. What are you doing differently for those than a regular open house?
So for those, I'm strictly just inviting realtors, brokers, realtors.
How?
By phone calls, text message, and emails.
Okay. So you're doing it like you're trying to chum up for like a regular open house then.
Yeah, yeah, but only, for brokers. And
Yeah.
so, I usually do those either like, 11:30 to 1:30 kind of a thing to get and give them a little lunch, like sandwich or something. And or like a 4 to 6 kind of a thing, and give them some, cheese and crackers and some wine. The one I did at lunch, I had, we have a local brewery here, so I had a couple of growlers from the local brewery. And then I gave everybody that came to the open house a $10 certificate to Lat 65, which is the local brewery. So, something to get them there, and realtors like prices and they all like beer. So I was trying to think of anything to get them there.
Especially in
So,
Alaska, right?
Yeah, right. That's right.
You got to know your people.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So, what you can and can't give realtors coming to, your listings, you'll have to, check on what your local, your state laws are, because everybody's a little different. But, if I was giving it to everyone, it's okay. But if I was doing other things, restricting that, you can't tie it to the house. So anyway, just check with that. Just be careful about that.
Yeah, that makes sense. You guys can jump in. Anybody want to volunteer? What do you see working in your marketplace right now? I'm gonna start picking.
I have one more. But she got my brain thinking. Open houses. I mean, it takes a little more thought than just showing up there, but I'll grab the community and dial them. I don't door knock, but I'll call the community, and I've actually got a couple of leads from that. And then, like you said, and I assume a lot of people do, having a little refreshments and stuff seems to go over well too. But mainly the calls, because it's almost like a freebie, because it normally goes okay. I mean, obviously sometimes you're going to get some butts anywhere, but it normally goes okay, and it's a way to, I stashed away a couple of leads that I think will pan out at some point down the line. So.
Good. Okay. Rich, I don't know if you're on I'm seeing your logo there. If you want to chime in on door knocking, that'd be a good thing.
Oh, it works every time I do it. One of the things that we think as a team lead that you think that you're too high to be doing is door knocking. And it's the most productive thing that I've done. I'm listing houses now that I door knocked 5 to 7 years ago. And I look at it as just, that's my savings account for the future. And I can connect with more people face to face and actually get their names and phone numbers and email addresses in 1 hour than I could ever do on the phone. It seems like no one is picking up their phone. So some of the best door knocks I've just recently done is, normally you delegate maybe putting up directional signs to somebody else on your team. I door knock every sign, even though it may not go onto I know it's not on their property, but I always get their permission, and I knock on their door, and I just do my door knocking script. And they always say, well, you're the first realtor that's ever done that. Everyone just sticks signs on people's yards. And believe me, and I always give them a $5 gift card or a $10 gift card. And that sign stays up when you give them a gift card to a local gas place, or Wawa, or whatever is the local place that you normally would, buy your gas, or something that makes sense for the location where your property is. But I've gotten to the point where I've gotten 3 listings just from knocking on doors. 5-minute door knocks end up being a $10,000 commission.
What's the longest period of time, Rich, from the time that you interacted or met someone at a door knocking session to the point where they actually list with you?
The longest time?
Yes.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, because I still keep in touch with everyone. I've literally knocked on over 10,000 doors, and I've got a farm area that I door knocked. I haven't door knocked there in years, but I still get listings there.
Even a couple of years after the fact, no?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Tom always says all the money is made in the follow-up.
I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but what's your opening line and what does follow-up look like?
My opening line is the exact same line. I can use that anywhere I meet anybody, anywhere. And that's, hey, I just sold a house down the street, or whatever the reason is. Then you just go right into the door knocking script. There's only one line you have to remember, and that's, I'm always looking for more people that are thinking about buying and selling. And I was just curious, ... Have you guys had any thoughts of making a move either now or in the near future? And that's it. That's the only line you have to remember. Everything else they answer is based on everything they answer to that question. And hardest thing is to just shut up and listen to them.
Rich, was when you're door knocking, I'm asking this for the group. When you're door knocking, is it for the farm? Is it around a just sold?
No, you can door knock anyone else's listings. It doesn't make any difference. If you don't have that's how I got started door knocking about 8 years ago. I didn't have a listing, and someone else listed something. I think I door knocked around and I just said, hey, we got a new listing in the neighborhood. And then it's taken me a couple of years to perfect my script, but I mean, I'm happy, it's all in the listening part. And that's the part that it took me 30 years to figure out in real estate is I have to be a better listener. And then all the Phil Jones lines are just adding to getting better at doing all this.
Do you practice at all?
Do I do what?
Like scripts, you do role play?
All the time, every day. I've got 2 role play partners. I've got my team I role play with. I do my door knocking script. I role play. I've been doing this for 37 years now, and I still role play 2 to 3 times a week.
Want a third?
What's that?
You said you had 2 role play partners. You want a third?
Oh, all the time. I'm happy to role play. Look, I've got guys on my team. I'm trying to get them to role play. One guy would love to have a role play partner, and I'm happy to chime in anytime.
All right. Glenn,
Anytime.
can you hook us up after this?
You got it.
Thank you.
It's good. It's the love connection. Love it. Love it. It's good. Does anybody do agent bonuses? Patty B out of my office is asking about agent bonuses to get more people in the door. Shelley, what are you seeing? I know obviously you probably, is that something you would implement? Like encouraging the seller to add a bonus? Commission bonus? You're on mute.
Sorry. That typically doesn't work for us here in Phoenix. I haven't had any luck with that at all. So no.
Just pricing it right.
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to add though to the thought about open houses, because the area that I farm is a master plan community, and our open houses are notoriously weak. But you know what? I mean, the ultimate goal would be, yes, to get somebody, you get the looky-loos in the neighborhood, and then you end up picking up a listing, or you get somebody unrepresented and you pick up a buyer. But the way I look at it is, and especially since I farm the area, so if it is an area that you farm or it's an area that you want to gain a foothold in, I don't care if you come to the open house. I want you to see my signs everywhere. And then we put door hangers, walk around the neighborhood and put door hangers on, typically the day before the open house, and invite people to the open house. So, the person down the street doesn't know that you don't have anybody at your open house, so it doesn't matter. It's like our team is working, see our signs everywhere. That's the takeaway.
That's always a win, right? Like makes sense.
It's always a win. I mean, I was thinking about doing an open house this weekend, and I'm like, it's going to be 105. It's a holiday weekend, but I thought, you know what? I don't have anything else going on. I'm not leaving for the weekend. And I'm like, if I sit there and I do work, who cares? My signs are out,
And Shelley's not making up that number. It is going to be 105 this weekend.
Maybe worse.
That's what happens in Phoenix, end of May.
Are you all telling me that your listings are literally lasting longer than 7 days?
Yes, mine are lasting. Anything I have listed above 700,000 is not moving at all, but I'm in a different market. Our average price point for sales is like 625.
Because anything in the lower 3/4 quartiles of our market is lasting 7 to 10 days. Open houses, brokers opens, there is literally no time.
Yeah,
So I said, I've forgotten what an expired is. We just don't have them. The only price reductions are coming in the what we consider ultra luxury market. And that's the only segment of the market where we're seeing price reductions at all.
mhm.
Sharon, you're doing some things on farming. You're doing some interesting things. What are you seeing?
I love doing market reports. So I signed up with Real Marketing and they do fantastic brochures that look like they're literally, it's a 4-page brochure. And it's all designed around their neighborhood. So it's a picture of the front of their neighborhood, like something that they recognize in their community. And then it's got the recent sales, it's got the map that shows their area. And on the back, usually it's kind of an overview. This past month, we did something that was more talking about how to get your house sold. So it was just a couple of points on how to get it sold for the most money. And I also do market reports on my CRM. So I signed up for Brivity about 2 years ago, and I've gotten listings from that literally by sending out every 2 weeks market reports. Not everybody's going to open them, but I used a list of people who've owned their house for more than 10 years, that had a 4-bedroom house over a certain square footage. And I took that list that I got from some place that provided these lists, and I uploaded that into Brivity, and it had their email addresses and phone numbers. And I'm actually closing a listing today. That guy actually, he's been getting my market reports through Brivity. And he told me he has a friend in the business that's a real estate agent. And he was going to list with her, but for some odd reason, I don't know, something happened where she didn't return his phone call and didn't take him seriously. And he called me over and I got the listing. And his mother's going to sell a property. So I'm meeting with him this afternoon about getting his mom's house. So, you know, the thing about the market reports is you're giving them information. It makes them feel like you're the expert. So I don't know. I like it. To me, it's easier than cold calling. Because it's relevant information, right? If they're interested in what's going on in their neighborhood, which most people are, then they're going to open the reports. It doesn't mean they're always wanting to sell, but I mean, I've actually gotten people who, you know, I closed on a sale where they literally, I mean, a couple of these people have said to me, like, we weren't ready, you know, but we've been saving your reports and we knew that when we were ready, we were going to hire you. So it's kind of like they're literally like listening calls. There are listing appointments where it's not like you're competing with anybody else, you know? So I kind of like that. And I've had that response from the people that I've, you know, that I've sold their home, that they said to me that they got this information and I just made them feel like I was selling all these homes in their neighborhood, even though they're not on my listings, but they felt like I was the neighborhood expert. And they literally would say to themselves, when we sell, we're going to hire this person. So I like it.
Sharon, what was the name of the company on the first report that you mentioned?
It's called Real Marketing. Real Marketing for You is their website. They're not cheap, but I got to tell you, these are automated. And this is one of the things that I love the most about these reports. I don't have to do anything. I help with the setup and the design for the communities, but everything is completely automated. So they create these reports every single month. They send me an email with the draft and I just give them a thumbs up. And the next day they're in production. So
Are you
they're
mailing them out? Are you mailing them out or do they mail them out?
No, they do that. They do. It's completely automated, which is the reason why it works for me. Because I don't have to get involved. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go to the post office. I don't have to print anything. They literally have the database. They create the report. They send me a draft and it goes out. And I get a copy in the mail.
I might have missed it. Where are you getting these, the people to send it from? Like, who are you sending it to?
Oh, I created a farm area. So a couple of farms that I created. So I went into MLS and kind of figured out what neighborhoods were around me that I was interested in. And so I tried to connect with neighborhoods where there wasn't some dominant agent that got, 20 or 30% of the listings in the area. So I kind of felt like there was nobody who controlled that neighborhood, and that there were enough sales that would justify, like enough turnover that would justify sending marketing there.
Gotcha.
And Real Marketing can help you do that too. They have the ability to help you kind of choose farm areas because they get all the data. And they're really, I don't know, I mean, it's a little bit more expensive, but to me, it's worth it. And the listings that I've gotten, the thing about farming, I think, is that it takes a little while for the recognition to come. So it's not immediate business by all means. You're going to be 6 months to a year before it's going to start to have traction, but the traction will come. I think farming is the best. And to me, I love the fact that this is automated where I don't have to think about it. It's going to go out. I just have to pay for it.
So thanks, Sharon. Anybody want to add anything to farming? And including my company folks, you guys can jump in. So I know there's a bunch of people on here that kill it on farming. So if you want to add something. Also, let's see.
But I'm going to say one more thing about farming, Glenn, and it's the reason why I started doing this, even though it cost me more money to do it this way, is I had started and stopped and started and stopped, and it's a terrible thing to do. You really have to just get in there. But it occurred to me 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, that the agent in my office that is our number one agent, literally 8 years ago, had very, very little business. And she said to my broker, what do I do? And he said, you have to farm, because that's how he got a lot of business. And she's been our number one agent for the last 6 years, hands down. And this is the only thing she does. She chose a neighborhood and she was very consistent with getting that out. And that's why it took me a long time to finally get the consistency, but that's why I like Real Marketing. And that's all I got to say is it works.
So anybody else? I know we got Justin out there. We got Nestorine. We've got Walter and Cecilia. You want to throw something in there? No, Shelley, I know you do a lot in farming. In fact, we did a farming session last year.
Yeah.
You want to throw something in there?
I mean, it's just consistency is the name of the game, and figuring out new ways to stay in front of your farm, so they don't become antiquated. And I think the moment when you're kind of thinking, what do I do next? How do I reach out without this being weird? Or, that's when you're pushed to come up with a new idea. And I live, like I said, in a master plan community that I've farmed for I don't know, since we moved here, 16 years almost. I attend all the events at the community center, whether I want to or not. And just constantly, we send something out typically every month. I'm also doing an email blast to as many people as I can that, are in our database that live in the area. And, whenever we have a listing, we'll send out postcards surrounding that and sold, and here's how we did it, and, all that type of stuff. And I sponsor, we just had graduation and promotion and whatever. I sponsored all kinds of stuff for that. So.
Did you start off, how often did you mail people in the beginning? Did you start off once a month?
Once a month, yeah. And I wasn't mailing because I couldn't afford to mail back then. So I had some neighborhood kids that I was paying to walk around and drop an 8.5 by 11 cardstock, glossy, printed. One side had a market report, The other side had just a little bit of information, market trend in the area, hyper local. And the other thing I did was I always added more than one if possible, but a coupon for a local restaurant, or because that way they don't throw it away. They typically hold on to it if you give them an item of value. Even if you add like the bulk trash schedule or some sort of schedule, I always think when I do marketing, what can I send out that somebody's not going to immediately toss in the trash? What can I add to this that they are going to hold on to? Or even, you know, cut out or whatever, spend some time with, and then you just keep sending. And I got those people that would call me and be pissed because we left something on their door and they don't live in the state. And I mean, you're always going to get that. So the quicker you get over that and just say, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, whatever, and move on. When it first would happen, I'd be mortified, like, oh, I don't want people mad at me. I'm trying to farm this area, you know, but now I just go, I'm so sorry about that. And I'm like, you know what? If you're that anal about something stupid, you're probably not my people anyway. And like, you know, Tom Ferry
for
always
me.
says, your vibe attracts your tribe. And that's true. But it took probably 6 or 7 months, and then the phone just started ringing. But nobody, you know, it was a new area that was just built. Nobody was doing anything in the area. No other, you know, realtors. There was nothing going on. So I got in at the ground level, and I also had young kids that were in school. So that was great, you know, get to know a lot of parents and that kind of thing, which I'm not in that anymore because one of mine is in college, the other one's in high school. So I'm really not as in with the younger crew. And I try to think of things that will keep me sort of in front of them as well, you know, like dropping off, you know, water guns or something like that. You know,
You've
the
done,
kids to play with.
you've done some events too, right?
Oh, yeah. We do a lot of events. And if I'm trying to get kids there, like we had a Valentine's Day event and we just set up like a backdrop so people could come down and take a selfie in front of it was really pretty with the balloon arch and all kinds of stuff. But then I had a local donut shop then give us a little bit of a discount. And we had a bunch of donuts that we gave out, come down and get a donut and take a picture and, you know, whatever. So stuff like that. And then I had a breast cancer event because I'm on the board of a breast cancer charity. So we had a mobile mammography unit come to the neighborhood, and all the slots were filled for that. People signed up like crazy. And I just set up a table and was able to chat with everybody, and I gave away like picnic blankets or something that has our logo on them, of course.
That's your
So,
face on it, right?
and that too, I mean, we do a ton of swag, like here's one of my cups that I'm drinking out of, Socala Group. I always just try to think of things that people aren't going to throw away. Nobody cares about your junky, you know, little stress balls or stuff like that. You know, you got to really think about it. Like, what would I keep?
You know,
Even something as small as pens, a decent pen with your logo on it. People typically are going to keep pens, and then when they use it, they, you know, you don't think that it's registering, but like I know what's on this pen that I'm using now.
Elizabeth has a special mug. She showed me, Elizabeth, you still have your mug? And this
Yeah.
was, for me. She did this for me this morning. You still have it with you?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, there we go.
I love that. I've seen that.
She did that for me.
Awesome.
She didn't really.
I love it.
I had to bring that up. Anything else you guys want to share? Thanks, Shelley. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Glenn, the overarching theme behind everything that I'm hearing is get out, meet people, and stay in touch with them, regardless of what the mechanics look like.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, you know, we're really looking at, you know, since we're all, you know, every marketplace is doing less than what we saw last year so far, you know, January 1 through, you know, probably through April at least, and probably through May as well. Doesn't mean that we have to subscribe to that. Doesn't mean that we have to do less business. And what that means is, okay, it doesn't matter. It could be sweat equity. Some of us are doing sweat equity, go out there, knock on doors, deliver some CMAs around open houses. Or it's going to be check equity, like what Sharon and Shelley talk about, or combination of both, right? Like it really doesn't matter. Just get in front of more and more people. And you just got to pick, all right, what's going to be your thing or things that you're going to do to actually get there. So any last questions? Last thoughts? Anybody want to chime in? Want to give everybody an opportunity if you want to jump in, introduce yourself, or throw something out there? Let's do that now. Anybody? Cecilia, unmute yourself. There we go.
Hey Glenn, it's
Yes.
Amy. Can you hear me
Oh.
okay?
Yeah, hold on, Amy. Give me. I'm gonna let Cecilia go first, and I'll pick you next. Cecilia, go ahead.
Good morning. I'm
Good
in
morning.
Texas near Austin, out in the country. So I'm from a small community. I love the farming idea of the CMAs. I do CMAs, but not at that level. I'm gonna look into that. There's a couple of neighborhoods that I would love to dominate, as it were. Glenn often asked me what's working, and I don't know. I have 14 listings that have just landed, and all I can attribute it to is I'm very much involved in my community. I sit on the local city boards when they ask me to. I'm very I don't do door knocking. I don't do my farm the way I should. Small town, but big. A lot of these people don't know me, but I answer my phone when they Google me, and I have a very strong Google My Business page. I don't know if it's even called that anymore, but I get a lot of calls where they're just looking for agents that will answer their phone, and I answer my phone all the time. So I love hearing all of y'all's ideas about the farming and the CMAs. So mine is just being present in my community and responding when people call me. So that's
Simple thoughts, but super powerful at the same time, right? Like it's
working.
Glenn,
It's
yeah, I
working.
was gonna say the same thing. One of the things I'm having really the only big fat success with right now is answering the phone. And when I go show a house to some random dude, I know you're supposed to qualify them, whatever, but they come with cash. I just dump a ton of data on them about the neighborhood or about the jobs or about the sales data, and no other realtor's done that. So that's what's working for me.
Walter, I want to come back to you on a second. Let me jump to Amy. I want to come back to you on something, so don't take off. Amy.
Hey, okay, can you hear me okay? I'm
Yes,
driving, as always. I'm actually coming back from Texas. I just left Texas. We just did a golf tournament, 144 players. We hosted a hole and we hosted a team. And we offered a free raffle, a lottery basket raffle. We had 2 of them with wine in it, and we made like a bouquet of lottery tickets. And almost all 144 players, because it's free money. So we were advertising free money, buy your dream home, get your vacation rental here on the beach. Every single one of them told us on a little bitty piece of paper, do you own or rent? And what's your name, your phone number, your email address, and your address. And almost every single one of them filled it out for the free money. So it was just a way to like build a sphere, especially for a lot of the new agents. And we'll draw the names and we'll make sure we reach out and they're on the mailing list for the magazines and for CMAs, or if they rent, talk to them about the rates, try to utilize those leads. But that's just us being part of the community and trying to get leads out of it. It was a success. It was good.
And Amy also kills it with Veterans United. You've mastered that whole thing of just connecting with buyers as well. Like you've done a great job with that.
We're a lot of military. We got 6 bases next to us, and we know how to use that Veterans United to the best of their ability, and their lead flowing consistent. I'll give them that. Very consistent.
Nice. Thanks, Amy. So Walter, I want to come back to you on something that you were bringing up, which is piggybacking on what Cecilia brought up, which is you do a great job with staying connected in the community and staying and just building up your past clients and your sphere specifically. What are you involved in?
So I massively network, and they say the opposite of networking is not working. So instead of spending a lot of money on postcards, which I've done, and ads, I just network and go wherever the people are that can afford the houses that I want to sell. And that's just been super effective. So everything from Rotary to, I started my own business club 32 years ago, to there's service nonprofits. We did a breast cancer awareness thing, a walk last year with WCR, and it was super big, super helpful. So I do all that and more. Just anywhere people are, I go there.
And what's interesting, the other thing to bring up, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, to be a successful realtor, you got to work your ass off. You got to work your tail off. And what I know for all of you is something that I noticed with Walter, because we have our calls 7:30 Central, like Walter's ready to go 7:30. And oftentimes you're about to jump into some kind of networking meeting. You know, maybe it's a BNI or whatever, like there's some kind of breakfast going on, right? Like there's some kind of breakfast with the town leaders, and you're going there to attend.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Pretty active with our board. Our board does a lot of really good networking with the government officials. We invite we do a government breakfast every year, and they invite everybody. So for free, I get to network with everybody that's elected, from fire chief to city council to mayor. They all show up. None of the realtors come because it's pretty early and it's just breakfast. So it's fantastic. But yeah, anything like that where people are coming, it's good.
Like it. What are we missing, guys? Ladies?
I just want to say one thing, and I have to go. If you're just going to do something once in an area that you want to farm, like send out a postcard, send, CMAs out, do an event. If you are not going to follow up with that, then don't even bother. Don't do it once. Because I get that kind of stuff randomly in my neighborhood. And of course I watch it like a psycho because, I feel like this is my hood.
You,
and
Shelley, right?
coming into my hood. But I see all kinds of people that just will send a one-off postcard that I know cost them, if they sent it to the whole neighborhood, it cost them probably $1,200. And then I never see anything from them again. So there's just no point in it. If you're going to farm an area, I would commit to a year and you'll see the fruits.
How long have you been farming your spot?
Well, I've lived here 16 years, so off and on for that long. But, it took me probably a couple of years living here, and the neighborhood was being built out. And that's when I really started, sending out those newsletters. And I don't send out newsletters anymore because I advertise with the newspaper that gets delivered here. So I have my market report and I have an article in it. So it's pretty much the same thing. And it hits every home. So I go that route. There's other things we do though, and other mailers surrounding different, things. But anyway, if you're doing it the right way, I think you should start to get some calls within 6 months or so. And also don't farm an area where somebody else has a major foothold. There's plenty of areas you can choose. And if nobody's killing it in a neighborhood, there's not one agent, it's yours. Go for it.
I like it.
Hey, Glenn.
Yes, sir. Rich?
Yeah, I have another idea that that has been very successful for me this past year, and that was just there's a lot of people retiring in my age group and who are older, and I got 5 listings this past year from one agent, And I just keep giving them 25% referral fees. And I just went on another listing appointment for $1.3 million listing appointment from one of his past clients. So something to think about, look around for people who are thinking about getting out of the business and just take over their business, and they can get 25% referral fees forever.
Yep. That's exactly right. I know Cecilia has somebody like that. So yeah, that's a good point. There's so many different ways to do this business, right? Like so much. You just got to pick probably, if you start looking at what Tom talks about, 6 to 8 lead sources, if you can grow into that, start off 1 to 3, and then you add one, maybe a year, get great at it, get fabulous at it, and just keep adding to it. That's the way to go. I like it. Good. Was this helpful? Was this useful for everybody? Good. Okay. All right. Happy Monday, everybody. We'll see everybody real soon.
Thanks, Glenn.
You're welcome.